Great. Our next session, what we're going to have is a session that you would rarely find in any conference, let alone in a journalism conference. And that's to do with animals. So raise your hands if you have any pets at home. Right? Do you have any pets at home? That's awesome. Now, the sad thing about the world that we live in, that we humans think we are the center of the universe and we are the most important things. We hardly give the respect or the time or the space for fellow sentient beings. Now, a person who's really advocating for animals is our next speaker, and her name is Mariam Abuhaideri. She's an animal rights activist. She's very vocal about people who can't. Yeah. And she's better known as the Persian lady. And it's important for all of you to give the highest respect, which is your attention, because just by listening to her and taking action on what she has to say, we can do so much good for the animals where they live in. So over to you, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. I see a lot of young, budding journalists, yes? So I think I have this opportunity to basically thank Talk Journalism for giving me this platform to influence young minds like you. And of course, if we have seasoned journalists, this is also for you. I want to thank all the community members of animal welfare who've come together to support and to hear me out, because it's very important in today's world, at the stage that we are, that the media give the earth, our natural ecosystem, and everything that is related to life, a chance, an opportunity, a space in their newspaper. It's very, very important. So thank you all for coming today. And you don't have to be an animal lover to basically write about animals. You just have to be somebody who believes that anything with a heartbeat, a pulse, is alive and can feel pain. Okay? So I think I must really thank Jaipur and all the love that Jaipur has shown and given me, because without this, I would never be here speaking to you. I started my career and my journey in animal welfare with FIAPO, which is the Federation of Indian Animal Protection Organizations, and then went on to do some great work on the ground with Help and Suffering, which is an organization that has been here for 40 plus years and doing phenomenal work in rescuing animals. But let me ask you this. Do any of you, how many of you subscribe to newspapers here? How many of you? Batao. How many of you actually read social media like our LinkedIn, whatever? And how many of you can actually identify the people who work for animal welfare in Jaipur who are sitting in this room? I don't count, you can't identify me. But who else? Can you identify some people? Yes? By looking at them? No. Because the media is void of news about their struggles, their efforts, the hope that they bring to the animals of this city. And I'll tell you why it's important. Because if you cannot do something positive, then don't do the negative either. Right? Har din, Jaipur ke newspapers mein, every time there's a story that's very negative, particularly towards dogs, canines. Right? And it's always one-sided. Yes, dogs cannot speak. But who can speak for them? People like me, people who have NGOs, and also people who are dog behaviorists, and all of these people who are involved in animal welfare. But do they ever get contacted? Do you know why? क्योंकि बेचारे dogs के पास पैसे नहीं होते news खरीदने के लिए. Right? And neither do we. Okay? Every penny that we have goes towards animal welfare in some way or the other. You, as future and current journalists, can ensure that you do your part. हर चीज पैसे के लिए नहीं होता है. Some things have to be done with a heart, and some things have to be done for the earth that we are living in, right? अगर हम अपने अर्थ के लिए, हमारे इस दुनिया के लिए, इस पर्यावरण के लिए एक छोटा सा स्पेस भी नहीं दे सकते न्यूज़पेपर्स में, मीडिया में, then what have we done? Do we deserve this life that we are living in, right? So I wanna, I'm very open to you guys interacting with me, okay? Because I love that, you know. Yes, I love to talk as well, but you know, you can barge in if you have any contributions to make. I want to tell you about a story, okay? हाल ही में जयपुर में there were about, I think, 5 dogs that were shot. Okay? I'm sorry, things are going to get graphic, but there were about 5 dogs that were shot. All of them lost their lives. How many of the media know about this? How many of you have read these stories? I was there, and I looked at these animals in their eye while they breathed their last. Some of them, not all, some passed away before I reached. But you hear stories of dog bites, correct? Every day, right? Isne isko kaata. Now, I am not opposed, and neither is anyone in our community opposed to empathizing with the children that are bitten by dogs. But how many of those stories go back and talk about the reason behind the dog bites? What Nagar Nigam is not doing to ensure that these animals are not getting aggressive, that they're getting their rights in place. I'll tell you, every animal that we see on earth, whether in circuses, whether they are in factory farms, wherever they are, they are being forced to live a life that is unnatural to them. The dog in your colonies suffer day in and day out. They run after people on bikes. Can anyone in this room tell me why they run after bikes? Anyone, apart from people from my community? Anyone? Sorry? Due to high speed. Okay, let's dig in a little bit deeper, right? The whys, I love the why questions. Why? Correct? Right? So that is one reason. Or they've had a past. अगर आपको सोचो आपके ऊपर, let's say, किसी ने चाकू से वार कर दिया एक मार्केट के बाहर, आप उस मार्केट से गुजरने तक, every time you pass through that market, you will be afraid, won't you? So if we can be afforded the opportunity and the ability to be scared, if we are passing by, to fear for our lives, why can't these poor dogs be? And this is where journalism steps in. I want to show you a few things. Article 51 AG, okay, says that it is the responsibility of every Indian, each one of you, if you're born in India, anyone who has a foreign passport, this doesn't apply to you, but I hope you'll still protect the environment, the natural life, wildlife, everything, you know, like forests, lakes, rivers, and to have compassion for all living creatures. Yet, in a day, and I am not exaggerating, more than 10 calls from people who call and say that their colony people, the president, their neighbors, are asking them to take away their pets, that they're not allowed to keep pets, or to relocate the community dogs that exist and live within their communities. Now, who's responsible for spreading the right information? How many people know this? How many people have actually read the Constitution of India to identify and understand their responsibilities? हर चीज़ हमारे rights के बारे में नहीं होता है, right? Everything is not just about what the government owes us. Some things are what we owe the earth. We have taken far too much from the earth, far too much. I remember, I'll tell you this, it's a funny story. 3 days ago, I was in a cab, and I was on this frantic call with somebody who was saying, "Ma'am, wo mere dogs ko relocate kar rahe, ye kar rahe, wo kar rahe." And of course, I'm cursing those people and I'm speaking in Hindi. And then finally I hang up and the driver's like, "Kya hua, ma'am?" I was like, ye hua. He's like, "Oh, अच्छा, मैंने कुछ गड़बड़ नहीं किया." So I said, "आपके कितने बच्चे?" He said, "3." I said, "आपने ये किया." 3 बच्चे. Imagine the earth. We've already taken away all the natural habitat that belongs to these animals. We have problems with monkeys venturing into our areas. Why? We are the ones. And tell them, "Sir, ye publish kijiye." Do we see any reports? Do you think I don't visit any media house? I've never done that in any city, okay, in India, but I'm doing it here in Jaipur. And the answers I get are, "Madam, we get a lot of pressure, we get this." So what is your role as a journalist? Is it to bow down to pressure? No. Or is it to report facts? And to be fair? To be fair. I think a lot of times what happens with these negative stories, okay, it's not that there aren't any stray cattle, stray animals anywhere else in the world. But if you do a comparison, and I recommend this as an activity, go ahead and look at the stories that are published in their media versus our media, and you'll see a huge world of difference, right? It's very important for the media in Jaipur to recognize that there are animal lovers who are their readers, who are part of their readership, and who want stories that will have an impact for these poor, voiceless creatures. If we don't do it now, we can never do it again. There are beautiful, beautiful stories. Yes, very good. Thank you. So there's always a story that the media hasn't told, that the public hasn't heard, and it is your responsibility as a journalist, as a reporter, as somebody who owns a media house, to tell these stories. Clear? Do we all agree? Yes? I want to hear. I don't hear anything. Yes! And why is this important? Why is this important? Because without the world, without nature, even the World Health Organization has said, without the One Health policy, we're all doomed. I'm sure you must have heard about what the One Health policy is, right? Animal and human health is inadvertently related to each other. If the animal you have is healthy, if the community animals are healthy, if your cows are not, if the cows you are drinking milk out of are not grazing on garbage heaps, you are healthy. But what we do is, paneer. How much paneer? बनाने के लिए 1 kg paneer बनाने के लिए, we need 6 liters of milk. Depends, buffalo or cow, the consistency will be different. But can you imagine? Paneer is in every dish, but nobody talks about this. Nobody's asking you to be vegan, but I'm asking you to question your food sources and the welfare of the animals that get you your food. Very, very important. आप जो चाय पी रहे हो, वो plastic चाय है. But any media reports about this? None. Why do I say it's plastic? Why do I say what chai you're drinking is made of plastic? Yes?
Because the cow must have eaten a polythene or something.
Exactly. If you visit a local gaushala, and if there are any current journalists, can I see hands up if there are any current journalists? Currently working, yes. If you go and visit a gaushala, ask them and do a report on this. Okay, how many cows are dying due to plastic consumption? जो ये देश में बोलते हैं गौ माता, ये facade है. And this is something that you will learn only by doing. I recommend all you budding journalists to actually go into the field, visit, write, and tell these stories from ground upwards. Very crucial. Obviously, I've been pursuing the media. Why? Because the media is an important source of spreading information, influencing public mindsets. And recently, I got in touch with, actually I've been doing this consistently, where I've been getting in touch with Dainik Bhaskar, with Patrika, and so many other media houses to at least tone down the messaging or the headlines that are inadvertently leading to violence against dogs and cruelty against dogs. Yeah, this is a tweet-a-thon that we had, where we said hashtag promote coexistence. And obviously it was done on a small scale, but it had some kind of impact. All right, when a dog bites a human, please look at these reports very clearly, look at these headlines. The pictures. More. More. And now, look at it. When a human kills an animal. You remember the story of the 5 dogs I just told you? This is it. Where is their picture? And which section is this? Who is even going to read this? Who is going to read this? Is this right? I want to hear from the journalists and students. Is this right? Is this something that you want to be proud of? Is this where you want your byline to go? This is real versus reality. I'm sorry, but this is how it is. This was one of the dogs that died right in front of me. But no media covered this with pictures, which could have had an impact. So I suggest, okay, if you can't go all out for the animals, find a middle ground. These are some sort of middle ground stories that I found in the media. In fact, the first one on top was where I initiated and we got Patrika to do the story. So I was they said, Mariam ko thoda kaam karte, you know, like we'll calm her down, we'll give her a story. And they gave me that story. But beyond that, nothing. All right. Since you're all here, I wanted to just very quickly go over what a stray dog really means. Because when you write reports, and hopefully some of you will go back home and want to do stories about colonies that are throwing their dogs out, relocating them, right? Free roaming dogs with an owner, free roaming dogs without an owner, community dogs, and feral dogs. Feral dogs are the ones you see on roads, highways, right? The ones that live in your colony are community dogs, right? And free roaming dogs without an owner that have been abandoned by their owners. And that happens quite a lot. In fact, I think Bakul is sitting right here, and she did a story on dogs that are abandoned. Okay, she's from Dainik Bhaskar. So, there are good journalists. Maybe their bosses need a little bit of nudging. So, and how can we fix this? If you look at this, I want you to Google this when you go home. In fact, you all have your phones right now. There was a report done called Stray Dogs Stir, Safety Debate in Turkey. That is an excellent opportunity, excellent piece that shows you how you can be fair and balanced and discuss both sides of the issue. Look at the people who are afraid of street dogs and also people who love them. And they've covered both of them. So please go ahead and find that. I can also help you locate it. But if you look at the title, you'll find it, right? Then there's another positive story. Rashtradoot did a positive story. So there are media that are doing it. We just need more people to take an interest, a beat to be created in this particular field. Also, these are some faces, right, of people who are doing great things for animal welfare. Inki stories, kaun batayega? Inki stories, kaun batayega? We have David right here. We have entire help and suffering. We have all the people, Abhishek Singh, Shantanu. We have all these people. Their stories are never told. I think if the media dedicates a particular space to tell these positive stories of people who are working for earth rights, animal rights, we would see a very different world. And starting from tomorrow, एक के मन में कुछ होगा और वो थोड़ा change हो जाएगा. वो एक रोटी डालेगा. And that change was planted, that seed was planted by you, and you can go to bed feeling happy about it. Yeah. So, let's begin. You're all starting on your journey. You'll soon be on your way. Let's tell stories of hope and reporting even the side of the earth and its inhabitants. I hope that if there is anyone, and I hope Bakul will take the story to Dainik Bhaskar and tell them to dedicate a space for the earth, the planet, and all its non-human habitants. Thank you so much, and I hope I was able to bring an influence. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the sake of animals, let's give Mariam another big round of applause for the kind of... That's awesome. Thank you for inspiring us, Mariam. This is absolutely needed. And as a token of appreciation, this is for you. Live clicked right here.
Wow.